And a good morning to you. Glad to have you in the house this morning on a 51-degree last day of January, which, excuse my French, sucks. I need cold weather. I need snow.
In like a lion, out like a lamb with January. It's cold, right after, after Christmas.
We've had
Pretty
some cold weather, but I saw Al Conklin this morning said there might be a chance of a little frozen stuff early Sunday, depending on when the rain comes in here and that kind of thing. But
we could have a little bit, but it's not going to be an event.
No, and I'm okay.
Now they're calling it off.
I just want to see it for a day or two, but
it's done.
Jeez,
it's going to get to 51 on Sunday.
Nah, it's not.
It's going to start in the 20s early in the
There's
morning.
No future in that in February. That's all I'm going to say.
Get up to 34 by 9. Yeah, I don't know, man.
No future in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But glad to have you along with us. I'm going to say this one more time. The end of the year will be 1-2-3-1-2-3. December 31st, 12/31/23. 1-2-3-1-2-3. Count from Sesame Street. It's the one that brings it.
Count, he's great, man.
Yeah, and who posted that? Baby doll, Nicola Roberts.
Realize that the last days of 2023 will be
12/31/23. That's 1-2-3-1-2-3. Isn't that nice? I thought that was funny. I can promise you I'm not smart enough to come up with that. I would have went straight through that and never even noticed it. I promise I would.
Bring back the count.
Sesame Street's still one of the longest running shows I think there is.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep.
Get him more active.
Richie, good morning. Lindsay, good morning. Milton, good morning. Milton says his yellow bell bushes are blooming. Well, that's not good because we can get frost till April.
You know what's going to happen.
We'll get snow, but we can get frost.
You know what's going to happen.
We're going to get a freeze.
Yep.
Jeff Wicker, good morning. I don't know if y'all remember Wicker. He's on in the mornings in Richmond, I think. Jeff used to be on the old WBCY, and used to be 107.9 out of Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
Wicker's a friend of mine. Yep.
How about that?
Wonderful. Let's I want to say I read something yesterday that there have been 11 offensive coordinators dismissed this year. And Juju likes to talk about one statistic. He's turned into my nerd boy.
Yep, he has. He's done a good job.
That the NFL has had its lowest average scoring mark in years. The scoring for the NFL is down, even with the changes and updates to the rules that are kind of skewed to the offense. He says he attributes it to a lot of teams have started to compensate, taking some of their best players and making them defensive players, so that, some of those defensive linemen from this weekend, those were men. I mean, those were.
Yeah. So I think one of the major things, and when you and I talked about this a month or so ago, and Juju actually had brought it up, I think, when all three of us, we're here one day and doing a show. I think it's during Christmas. So, Laney, and I have no scientific proof of this, but just, observation, reflection, experience of, being involved and that kind of thing, right? But I really believe I attribute that to the lack of focus on the quarterback being a quarterback instead of in doing things that a quarterback does, getting under center, faking the handoff, keeping the defense up so you can throw underneath the deep and in between, the line and linebackers. Today we have a lot of zone and zone read that we're still trying to do, or even a couple of options here or there. That is going to bring down offensive productivity because, to your point, until those players are faster and better athletes than the defensive ends, outside linebackers, that crap ain't going to work, okay? And this is where we are. In the NFL, it's not – the rules are skewed for the offense way more than a defense.
And, I think I told you this when you – I don't know if I read this or I imagined this or I came up with this, but they're starting to become – you're getting away – well, let me back up. Juju and I talked about Landon Dickerson,
Yes.
Hickory product.
Yes, absolutely.
He's a road grader. He mauled people in that game.
Yeah.
However,
He
you
did.
can do that at the guard position. You can't do that at the tackle position.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't put tight ends on defensive ends because they can't handle it.
That's right.
So what I think you're going to see is when you get outside of those inside three, the center and two guards, you're going to see more defensive end type offensive tackles, much more athletic, not
Yes.
the big massive guys because they can't move. You watch them, and even some of the best offensive tackles, those defensive tackles will get 1.5 yards outside,
That's the problem.
and they can't get there.
That's the problem. And so I'm talking about for an offense, okay? So the game has evolved now where teams have gotten out of the 6-man front, the 5-man front, even a lot of them out of the true 4 front, and are doing 3 and then putting an outside linebacker down, defensive end down, okay, and bringing them off the edge really hard. Now, what was the one thing – why did people play 5 and 6 men in the box as far as defense goes? And then I say in the box on the line, and then 2 inside linebackers, because people did what? They ran fullback trap.
Yeah, primarily
Right.
play between the tackles.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so what you're going to see is a natural evolution, okay, because offensive coordinators need to stay employed. And, regardless of what they think, it's not their schemes that make them so good. It's the process in which unfolds and the way they develop and work with what they've got, okay? And it's all about mindset, all right, installing that into the players, right? If Tom Brady, all right, even now 10 years ago, and you're playing, and all of a sudden you pick him up on your team, you instantly feel better. Mm-hmm. Now, you haven't met him. You haven't taken one snap with him, but you instantly know you're going to be better. It's a mindset.
Yeah, but the other reason for that, and this is where they always compare quarterbacks to Tom Brady, because of the speed of the defense now, it's the ability to get that ball out of your hand
Less than
before
2
they can get there.
seconds. Yeah.
Tom Brady, even at his age, is one of the best. And Peyton Manning was
Peyton
another
Manning.
one. How quick they
Right.
could read,
Right.
react, and get that ball out before
It's
the
amazing.
defense had a chance to get
That's
there.
a great point.
That
That's a great
neutralizes
point.
those unbelievable athletic defensive ends because you're not giving them time to get there.
Well, the other way that you neutralize them is you pound them.
Yeah,
You take Landon Dickerson
yeah.
and you pull him.
See,
you go
I
out
never
there.
understood why, and I don't know what kind of feet he has. Okay, I know he's a motor grader, but if you got a guard that's uncovered and you're having problems from a defensive end, you drop that guy and pull him around to at least chip.
Right. And I'm talking about just regardless of, what play you've got called, the whole point is to pound that guy. Like, for example, when I'm looking at an offensive, like as a defensive guy looking at the offense, right, I'm going to start finding holes in their line or their weak links, but also that best player, right? Or let's just flip it around. When I was an offensive coordinator or head coach running offense, right, I would find that great player on defense, and I would just go at him like 4 or 5 plays and try to wear him and see where he was.
Right.
Now, makes good plays, fine. But at the same time, you get hit enough, you'll submit. What happened to Reidsville in the state championship game against East Duplin? Mm-hmm. They got pounded.
Did you know their coach retired?
Who?
Just a sidebar, Reidsville.
I had heard that.
Yep.
So he did do it.
I saw the headline.
Yeah, he'd been
just
doing
a
it
sidebar.
a long time.
Sorry.
And, no,
33
no.
years, I think.
Yeah, and he had a couple of tenures there and did a great job, and is a very good coach. Watched a couple of his podcasts that they did, news with whatever media would do. But, the whole point is if you want to neutralize talent, then you use the great neutralizer, which is a rotor grader, which is what you're talking about with Dickerson, Kelsey. The other guard they got, 60 whatever he is, 4 whatever. Golly, dude, he and Dickerson, and then Kelsey's crazy, right? Those 3 in the middle.
And here's the thing. You talk about it. Baseball has done it with the shift. You're not playing the traditional way that you would play baseball. The NBA and basketball in itself has morphed into the hybrid player. You don't have 1s and 2s and 3s and 4. You don't have a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center. It doesn't happen anymore. No. Football's kind of getting the same way as you say. I'm going to take a guy that maybe was a safety in college and make him an outside linebacker in the pros, or inside.
Yep.
Or I'm going to take that outside linebacker and he's going to become a hybrid defensive end with a hand on the ground. And so that's happening with all sports, because you're looking at the athletic ability and what can they do and contribute.
Right, versus the offense.
Versus just, I'm going to take a player, this is the position you play. It's about functionality.
Well, what happens is the defensive side, just like in football, just like in baseball, adapts to the offensive game, because your job is to defend, right? It's not to be the tone setter, and then the offense will do it. That's after the fact, right? So you must line up and be able to defend, all right, what that offense is doing. That's why you see these safeties. Mm-hmm. Like Ronnie Lott in today's game would be an inside linebacker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He would not be a free safety, all right, because we got guys that play defensive end / defensive tackle now that used to play inside linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or even I say defensive guard, but you know what I mean.
Right.
The interior guys, because they were just really, really big. Dick Butkus, great inside linebacker in that era, right? But he wasn't near fast enough for today's game.
Right.
And now, did I see him play? Please, full disclosure.
No, but the whole speed of the game and players in
right,
general.
I'm not trying to say that I'm not comparing. What I'm saying is just, it's the way that things evolve, to your point. The problem is the offense has now gotten to a stalemate because we have computers and obviously a lot of people think computers make them smarter, and so I'm gonna get on this and I'm gonna watch this video and I'm gonna draw this up and do this and that. Has nothing. It's the process of it, and what's happened is now the process is flawed to a degree, and so we have very non-traditional quarterbacks that are now playing in I'd say the championship games and on to the Super Bowl.
Bob is exactly right. The Eagles did have a quarterback sneak for a touchdown behind Dickerson.
Yeah,
that's one of the ones he just mauled him.
And Jalen Hurts is so strong. Like, he was the second strongest guy at Alabama, right?
Yep.
He's so strong
that
those legs don't quit going. And to Bob's point, Dickerson, it's amazing to watch. Like Tyler Shatley's a great example of that at East Burke, that plays with the Jaguars. Tyler was he was a fullback in high school just because he could take the ball and run all over everybody. But to watch the growth and development through Clemson with Tyler, kind of like landing through, Florida State, which we didn't really hear a lot until he went to Alabama, right? To see that where he, that guard center position he can do, to watch the growth and development and how important it is and why Saban was so high on him even after torn ACL. Look, you better draft this guy. He's going to get healthy, and he is going to be, as good as
anybody. And speaking of that,
yeah,
I told Juju last night, I don't think I mentioned it on the air, it kind of blew my mind knowing what he had been through. Mm-hmm. He did not have any knee braces.
If you go back, you talking about in the game?
Yeah. There's no way – after what because he's had it on both knees.
Right.
There's no way at that level that I would not have had something to kind of help protect me, knowing where I'm at.
I don't know, Landon. I know a lot of people that do, and but it's kind of like a lot of linemen that play in the league. Mm-hmm. You gotta have a little bit of maybe something of the abnormal going on upstairs to do the things that you do.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean there's something wrong with him. I'm saying that just the directional focus and a little bit of craziness that, you got to have,
career.
And that's what I'm getting at. And there's nothing, in my opinion, better for, I'm not.
Here's the thing. There are a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys that wear them, especially in college, that have never had a knee injury.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
And I just thought that was a little surprising. Milton said the problem with Ronnie Lott is he would have been ejected after the first tackle in today's game.
Oh, because of it leading with his head. Yeah, I know. That's right. That's funny.
Chad said he should never have been in game at that time. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Let me.
Was he talking about they were up so much?
Yes. Well, then after he got the elbow, when he got the elbow injury.
You talking about
Dickerson?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that would be something that we didn't have those in my day. But now that's a common issue with fat boys, or the knee brace supports. So because you can easily get one tore out from under you just from somebody rolling over on you, nothing intentional.
They started in high school in the early 80s, best I can remember, because Coach Foster was at Fred T. Ford. My dad was coaching there with him at that time. This is the early 80s. And he and Coach Kopus required the linemen to wear those, I believe they were black knee braces at that time. And I guess they just
keep the lateral stuff.
And do you know who else wore them as a carryover? Then the quarterbacks started wearing them because they were an option style offense. And Jay Jackson was one of the quarterbacks there. He and Brad Lutz. A couple years later after that, and I asked him, I said, "Why do y'all wear those?" So we get our knees blown out. We're option, we're veer option quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. My dad's like, "You're going to wear them." We were in high school. I'm like,
Let me tell you this. I mentioned this. We'll take a break. This was out of Reidsville 5 days ago. After being rumored, Reidsville High School Rams head coach Jimmy Teague confirmed he will retire January 26th. That was last week. Teague had 2 durations as Reidsville's head coach from 92 to 08, and then from 12 to 22, totaling 26 years. Okay, took them to 7 2A titles out of 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They've got the record for the most,
Yes.
and he is the winningest coach in Reidsville history. I'm going to take a break. We come back. Richie wants to know our thoughts on the Panthers hire. We'll do that when we come back.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, and then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Tuesday morning. I am on the official retirement tour as I'm preparing for my retirement from full-time employment and just working for Lanny, which I'm completely fine with that. Still got to work on our audience area here so we can have a live audience come in, participate with the broadcast sometimes. Panther thoughts. Juju and I talked about that a little bit last night. Let's see. Yeah, Chad was talking about Dickerson.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Richie said most DBs would not be allowed on the field now because they wouldn't be allowed to do what they did best. You got to mug a wide receiver. You had to mug a wide receiver to get a pass interference. Now you just got to look at them wrong to get one. But let's go back to.
Yeah, he's right.
Maybe we can go back to the Panthers here and get your thoughts on the hire. There was a lot of folks, I think, from an emotional standpoint, wanted Steve Wilks, and I would have been fine if Wilks had gotten a job. I would have been completely fine. I would not have had a problem with that. However, I do like the hire that they made with Frank Reich. It will be the first time in 20-whatever years the Panthers have had an offensively focused coach. I think Frank Reich is a proven head coach. I think he did a great job and a really good job a few years when he really had nothing to work with. Jim Irsay's not much of an owner, in my opinion. But I think Frank Reich will do a good job with the Panthers. I think he will garner a lot of respect, and I'm hoping that fans can get behind him and not be bitter over the Steve Wilks thing. Steve Wilks is going to get a job. I'm just not sure he was the right guy for the Panthers because of where they're at, needing so much help from the offensive side, because their defense is not in really bad shape. It's a pretty good defense, but the offense is just – it's a crapshoot over there.
So why not hire an offensive coordinator? Why do you have to go hire a head coach that runs the offense? Because you can't serve two masters. And Frank Reich has proven that he can't do that. See, I don't think it's a good hire.
Okay.
A lot of people do. I just don't. I think you're focusing – what have they done the last couple of times? Or the last time they went after a offensive guy to be a head coach. Now, was he a college pro head coach? No. So I understand that. I think Frank Reich, being a former Panther for a little while, is a good guy, and I want him to do a good job. But I think that, just when I'm looking at it from a leadership standpoint, that in that locker room You've got to have the locker room or you have nothing. And Steve Wilks had that locker room. Now, can Frank Reich get it? Yeah, because he's got, he's played in the NFL. People,
he's
know
got
of
earned
him.
respect.
Right, and he's a good person.
Proven product, yeah.
But I think, and I'm not saying that he won't be a good head coach at Carolina, but I think, the timing of this was not right based on the chaotic nature of the Panthers, okay? I still like Steve Wilks. It's fine that they can do what they want to have, no control over that, no worries. But when I'm looking at it from a leadership standpoint and what he did to get things back in order, he got rid of chaos and he traded away the best player, supposedly, okay? Now, that's arguable.
But did it come from him or did it come from Tepper?
I
mean, you know what I'm saying?
No, I agree, but nothing was done until Wilks took the job.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that was his plan all along, was to bring stability and diversity to the team, diversity being from a standpoint of we're not just going to focus and wear one guy out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Their biggest issue is they put their hopes and dreams in back-to-back years and two quarterbacks that are incapable of being all-pro quarterbacks,
mm-hmm.
okay? Now, there is an argument from some people that will say, well, Baker Mayfield can be. That is from a talent standpoint only, okay? The potential of that. The body of work tells you that that's not gonna happen. It's like the whole thing, the celebration of Brock Purdy. Now defensive coordinators have film on him, okay? It's coming.
And he's small.
It's coming. So, Shanahan knows that, can modify the game some to keep things from happening, but they've got film on him now. It's
mm-hmm.
over, okay? The ride's over. That's why you sit there, not you, but third person, somebody would say, well, yeah, but Jimmy G needs to be traded and all this. I don't know if you trade a guy that's got experience that they've got hundreds of games of film on that, he knows what they know about him and can go out and produce versus a guy that, well, he's our future, he can do this, and then he goes out and screws it up. What was the one thing Roethlisberger had in Pittsburgh? He had the bus, okay, and he was able to throw the football to Hines Ward. Even after the bus retired, he was still able to run the football because they brought in Willie Parker. And then they brought in other backs, but the whole point with Frank Reich is I like him. I'm glad he's going to be the Panthers coach, but I do not think that you choose your head coach based on offense. I think you choose your head coach based on the body of work that you're trying to do within the game that you have, and that, defensively, we like the pieces they got. Who's going to coordinate that? Who's going to have that support system that Wilts gave him, knowing that he knows his role, like Belichick and other defensive guys, right? McDermott, those guys, right? And allows the offensive guys to do what they do.
This will make you smile. This is a Bob Duckworth comment that is right out of the Fort Rembrandt School of Thought. Bob said a 2-year coaching offer to Wilks would help the Panthers and Tepper more than the move they made. I'm telling you, Tepper is all about turmoil, divide the fan base, and smile when he sells the football franchise.
And I think, and to Bob's point, I'm going to veer and take it even a little more this way, Bob. I think that he potentially keeps the football team, moves it to South Carolina, and brings soccer full-time. Is it FCC? Is that what it's called?
Oh, I don't know.
Football club. I'm just saying.
I can't talk
brings it full-time
yeah.
to Charlotte.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more excitement and more promotion of a soccer match being played in Charlotte and all the smiling faces and all the stuff you see on
MLS.
Facebook and
Thank you, Richard.
MLS. Yeah, just, all that. People are so excited. Look, it's here. We're having the best.
Something new and different. It's the new shiny toy.
Right. And in the Panthers game, I cut it on, and there's a bunch of blue seats out there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So where are we at? And that's fine. That's his business. He is there to make money. If people want to buy into the premise that some owners are there to win championships, that's their business. They can pull for their team if they want to. I know if I'm a Patriots fan that I'm good with what Kraft's doing because he's trying to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is he capable every year? No, but he's letting the guy do it. Same thing with San Francisco with John Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
They are trying to win championships. They realized the Trey Lance thing was a bad experiment, just like you and I talked about. Why are they doing this with these two young quarterbacks? The boy from the Jets, Zach, what was his name? Zach.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Was it Wilson?
Yeah. Why? Okay, look at what he played against in college. I'm not taking anything away from him. What I'm saying is, we hear all this stuff about how great this – I mean, it's kind of like this, and I'm going to go on a rant. It's kind of like this. Why would the Panthers pick C.J. Stroud to be their quarterback? That's what the preliminary projections were showing a couple weeks ago.
No,
why?
I agree.
Why would you – why? Why would you do – I'm not saying C.J. Stroud can't be a good quarterback. I don't know. I'm not saying it. He has no experience in the NFL. Why? It's just
If you could pick one that would possibly be available, who would you
Aaron
bring
Rodgers,
in? Who would
right
you bring
now.
in? Well, that's a reach. Got to be somebody that would realistically come. Aaron Rodgers ain't coming. Tom Brady ain't coming.
Brady just signed yesterday back with the Bucks.
So who's out there that you would bring?
You have to bring Rodgers in. You've got Frank Reich, who he can't go above that now. He can go above his previous head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He can. The dude's like 19 years old, does a great job. But I'm saying it's more of a Aaron Rodgers like, look, I'm older than you. All right, and whether he is or not.
Yeah.
I've been playing the league longer. And we're going to do, it's kind of like this. He can't do that with Frank Reich. It's going to be like this. And that's what he needs. He needs collaboration in the place that he is.
I keep looking, and Juju was talking about yesterday, and I completely disagreed with him on one that he said, but because I just think he's too old in the tooth, and I don't think he would be a good bridge quarterback, was Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, love him to death.
I do too, but I don't think he's the guy that can do it.
No,
but I don't know who would be. But I agree with you. I don't think I would rather. Now, Andrew, that's a great right there. Andrew Moon said Derek Carr would be a good fit. For the Panthers.
Completely agree. Perfect. Completely agree. But you said available. Who would you go? Who would I go get?
Yeah.
Because of who they hired.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they hired Steve Wilkes, Derek Carr's my first choice. And Andrew's not wrong. That is like a 1A.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. I like that too, and that is a very strong possibility versus Rodgers coming in. But what I'm saying is with the hiring of Frank Reich and Aaron Rodgers, now you got somebody, they'll work together because they're two, I don't want to say legacies.
I'm not that confident, but I think Aaron Rodgers is too much of an individual.
I don't.
Okay.
I completely understand why you or anyone would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do. But I think he is a product of his environment and has to be that way to protect his best interest because they're not protecting his.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's a win. Things have to be mutual in a transaction.
But he's had opportunities to get out with contracts. My wife said she'd never cheer for the Panthers if they brought Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I don't cheer for him anyway, but I want him to do well. But it's tough though, Laney. It's a fine line.
Would Jimmy G be a fit?
Yeah,
for the Panthers?
He'd be good. He's a steady guy.
They need a good manager and distributor.
Well, Carr, to Andrew's point, is Rodgers is obviously the one that if it were possible, okay? But Derek Carr and Jimmy G bring a lot to the table. Jimmy G would put a tremendous amount of ticket sales out there, okay? Just like Aaron Rodgers, if he were to become the Panthers quarterback, the stadium would be flooded.
It'd be a love-hate, I think.
I don't. I think I just don't. I think it's kind of like Favre. Sometimes you got to know when to say when.
Mm-hmm.
He retired, then unretired. I think sometimes you just got to move on, Brady.
And that's the other problem that I have with Aaron Rodgers, kind of like Big Ben was for a couple of years. You didn't know what his commitment was, and was he going to come back?
He was the NFL MVP last year. Okay, Brady arguably could have been as well. Had just a little bit better numbers overall. All right, so you have those two guys. I think his commitment level has always been there. I think that the Packers' commitment level to being a championship team has not always been there. They've been more worried about the purse and about this than they have been investing into championships instead of worrying about an expense of championships. That's where I think the biggest – I think more mistakes are made in business and, well, which is what this is, right, particularly in sports.
That's right.
In lack of investment into something and thinking it's an expense.
The same way when and you know this,
and value.
And it's one of the reasons that I was never a fan from a defensive side of prevent defense, because you were more concerned with not losing instead of winning.
Well, yeah.
And it's the same way. You're more concerned about
That's right.
not making a mistake
That's a good point.
than going out there and just making
100%.
making decisions to get it right. Richie said Russell Wilson, that's not happening. That contract's too big. And then here's the other side. You know who they've started talking to again in Denver? Because Sean has pulled his name. They're back to Harbaugh again.
Harbaugh's going to take that Denver job.
And Harbaugh can make Russell Wilson work.
Well, they will make each other work.
Yes.
And I like that. And I think, obviously, Sean Payton would have been tremendous regardless. But, I don't like – Laney, I don't like a couple of things that I'm seeing out of the NFL right now, okay? And I think this is –
Just a couple?
Well, there
There's
used
a lot.
to be a lot more, but people are coming to their senses. We're not losing our mind if people are praying.
Right.
Things that people in the United States of America and around the world do on a normal basis, we're not trying to demonize anymore.
Right. That's
okay?
right.
So I think they figured that part out. That probably need to get away from that. Let's stop that. Okay. That lost a lot of viewership. That condescending, type of behavior. I'm not getting political. I'm just saying what it is.
No,
okay?
that's right.
All right. Everybody disagrees with that. That's your opinion.
But the numbers
Doesn't
showed
matter.
that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just okay. So I think a couple things are hurting the NFL right now. I think that the combines are killing the NFL because of the pressure put on franchises to draft the next, Tom Brady. He's not out there, okay, in the current format, because the Tom Bradys they want to bring in are ones that can run the football, okay, but they can also throw it, okay. That's not what will get you a championship in the NFL. You say, yeah, but look at Jalen Hurts and look at what they've done there. Jalen Hurts can throw the football. It just happens that he is a dynamic runner, which is what he originally started being. All right, he had to transfer, which I do not blame him, and I appreciate the way he went about his business and did that. He graduated from Alabama and then transferred to Oklahoma and got with the Whisper. The Whisper made him much, much better in the things he was doing. Now he is a complete player. It was kind of like when Dean Smith put Donald he's a year younger than me, great shooter. He had him play point guard instead of the two guard because he wanted to make him a more complete player and learn how to handle the ball, okay? And I'm talking about in the early 90s when they won the national championship in 93. It was Donald. He went to Garner High School. He was a teammate with some of the guys I played with East Carolina that played baseball, that played basketball. All right, Donald. Anyway,
Rich, you'll get it.
Yeah,
he's a Carolina fan.
Oh yeah, but the point is, when you become a well-rounded player, Donald Williams. That's it. Thank you. All right, and the board's actually close enough. I can see it. It's fantastic. I'm like, wow. So. The point is, when you take somebody like a Jalen Hurts that has that natural instinct to run the football and do it very well, but yet now he can throw and do it efficiently and effectively, and he's a great decision maker, and he doesn't get emotional or go crazy or do. Now you have that one player in the NFL that can actually do this. Can Lamar Jackson do this? No. He's a great player. He cannot do what Jalen Hurts can do.
But the other side of that, to me, I think comes from how a coach handles and designs and schemes around the abilities of the quarterback
and all the other players. Absolutely.
Because that has a lot to do with it. Milton made a comment. He said, I think Russell Wilson was the beneficiary of Pete Carroll. He was to a point.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
Pete held him back for what Pete wanted to do.
Because of a defensive philosophy. I agree.
But then when he got with Hackett didn't even my opinion, didn't even analyze or evaluate how he could work to make Russell work.
So what mistake did they make at Denver hiring a what? Offensive coordinator to be their what?
Yeah, but what they did there is they thought Aaron Rodgers was – they thought it was a package deal. I'm just telling you, that's why it didn't work out. They thought Aaron was coming with him. That's everybody's thought because Hackett – I didn't think Hackett was the guy.
I think they were more excited about getting Russell Wilson than they were Rodgers. That's what I think.
But they should have went with somebody else as a head coach.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I look at Frank Reich, who I was a big fan of, even when he played behind Jim Kelly. Mm-hmm. But I was still one of my best friends in college is a Buffalo Bills guy, and he always we always watched the Bills. And Frank Reich, every now and then would come, regardless, would come in and play for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But he was always there. He's always steady. I am a fan of him from a player, personality, person, everything. But where I think, again, he fell into the second thing that upsets me that I think the NFL's doing wrong is to get into this, well, I like this player. I like this. Carson Wentz, played at North Dakota State, Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz is a very good man. He and his wife did so much to help the city, and I'm talking about people in the city when they lived in Philadelphia. He is a good person, but there are some flaws there, from a professional quarterback standpoint because of the years of experience leading up to the NFL. So what's happening is, again, our famous thing that we talk about, style of play versus the actual substance. Frank Reich invested in that style of play and did not pay attention to the substance. There's a reason Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP. All right? He, not Doug Peterson, all right, he won that Super Bowl because he was a manager of great players, around him. He did that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because of his experience, his steadiness. He didn't lose his mind. He played in good competition in college. He played, he's not that Carson Wentz is not a well-rounded person, but I'm talking about from a game management standpoint. Mm-hmm. Let's see where, Frank Reich goes. Is Sam Darnold going to be the guy? That's all we heard from Colin Cowherd when, Rosen and Donald.
And I agree, but I think those guys here again. I think you've got to have the right match to be able to do that. And I go back and I use Kirk Cousins. Look at what he's done in Minnesota with the right type of coaching. Look at what Stafford did when he got to the Rams with the right kind of coaching. Look at what who went to Detroit.
Detroit, yeah,
that was from the Rams. Goff,
yeah.
Jared Goff. Look at what he did when he got there. Different coaching situation.
He's the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably second half of the season.
And so
15 touchdowns, no picks.
And Richie brings up a good point here. It said again they didn't do their due diligence. Talking about Russell to get the best person to fit their system. Instead, they went and got the best overall person available.
Exactly
if they were going after Wilson, they should have gotten an OC that knew how to use him. And that's what I said, and that's why I said that it was all about they thought Aaron Rodgers was going to come with him. If not that year, the next year.
Right. But this is the thing, too. It's that old saying, best players got to play. That's not true.
Yeah.
Okay? You can make that happen, but then you end up having chaos and turmoil because sometimes the best players in your mind, what a player is, does not fit the system appropriately for what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Nope, I agree.
And there's so many people that understand nothing that unfortunately that are coaching, whether it be in junior,
any
middle
level.
school, high school, college, or pro. And yes, I am criticizing. No, I've never been a pro football coach. All right. No, I've not even coached college football. I have college baseball. Okay. But what I'm telling you, regardless of the level, the process and what you're looking for, Lanny, is the same because success and what leads to it does not change.
Now, sometimes
the
amount of talent you have, sometimes the amount of talent you have can overcome some of the things that
Yeah,
that should bite you.
You can win games, but
Yeah,
you can't win championships.
right. But you know what I'm saying.
To your point,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you brought that up because that is a very fair point that someone that says best players got to play will say, well, look at all these games we've won, or look at all these games I've won. Yeah, but you didn't have the right combination in there, right, to win a championship. You know, it's like when people are voted like player of the year for this or that. You know, there are people years that I've coached, all right, and I'm talking high school football, baseball, basketball, you know, even college baseball, that strictly go on stats. Okay. Well, I've seen people get nominated and actually obtain player of the year for offense or defense that are not near as good as 4 or 5 kids that I've got. Like, just for example, let's say on the defensive side of the football. But because we had such a diverse and multifunctional defense, then nobody's numbers were going to really jump out, you know, in across the board. In certain things they would, but because of the players and things, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Dallas's no-name defense, you know, or, you know, another – I'm not talking about this year, obviously.
Right.
But I'm just giving examples. You know, they got, you know, so-and-so – you know, and they don't have any Pro Bowl guys, but they got the number 1 defense in the league. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of these things that are skewed in people's mind because they look at performance individually only instead of their performance as part of the process. How many times have we seen an MVP in a league that doesn't play on a championship team?
See, I've always said
all the time.
There's only one sport in my mind, okay, only one sport in my mind that lends itself – and it's changing more to the individual performance than it does the performance of the team, which is baseball.
Yes.
Because baseball was so forever generated about statistics. It was all about stats. Now, they've gotten away from that to some extent.
Yeah, some degree, yeah.
But that was where it was for
they're
so
trying
long.
to take baseball to where football, like the combines are now. Oh, this kid throws this hard, this kid does this. And what college baseball coaches are figuring out, the ones that don't have their head in the sand and their head up their, you know, rear end, are starting to figure out is, you know what, it's not necessarily about how fast this kid is or about how hard they throw. It's about how well they can play and perform at a higher level.
How do they fit into my system?
And how do they function in the locker room?
Yeah.
You know, I got this kid that throws 92 – I'm just giving an example. I got this kid that throws 92 miles an hour, you know, that's got a great breaking ball, but the teammates hate him.
Yeah.
They can't stand him. So every time they go out, it's like, oh, God, he's pitching. No, I'm just giving an example. You know, and instead of finding the right fit for your system, I mean, look at Coastal Carolina. Basically, what you had was a team of rejects from other Division I schools that in 2016, they were not rejects. They were just shunned. They were either too small, too fat, you know, too bad body. Oh, he can't run. Oh, this guy over here doesn't throw. I don't like his arm action. I've heard all this from college guys all these years. All these brain trust guys, right? Heard all this stuff. And the one thing I look at them and say is, dude, there's a reason you're failing miserably where you are. Okay? And, you know, but yet Coastal goes in and wins the World Series. That's an anomaly. That can't ever happen. That just happens once every such and such. No, it doesn't happen until somebody puts the other ones on notice that says, you know what? Baseball's a non-discriminatory sport, and you're trying to turn it into one where you're worried about body type instead of, you know, output and performance on what you're asking them to do within the game.
Well, you and I have talked about it. I've always thought that one of the biggest things to me is the intangibles, not the measurables as much as the intangibles, because they can't be measured.
What have we seen in the
How
combine?
does it affect the chemistry?
Dude, you're 100% on. What has the combine told us?
Yeah.
The combine's only
But the combine was created to be a money-making event for the NFL.
The problem is, I agree with you 100%. The problem is it's leaked over now.
I know.
Into the play of the offense.
It's become too real a part of the game.
Into the play of the offense.
Yeah.
Where, you know, all of a sudden, well, this guy's going to be a first-round pick because he runs a 4.2. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Is this player a football player? Does he play football?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't even know what that means. He's an athlete. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Does he play football?
Just like people think track stars sprinters can become receivers.
Willie Gault.
There's been a few.
No, to your point.
Yeah, there's been a few.
Couple more. I really don't know.
Yeah,
There's maybe one or two more.
Just because they can run doesn't mean they can catch it, and they can play the rest of it.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I noticed, like over the last few years, especially in high school football, I would watch players in the rounds that we would attain football wise, and watch how they perform in those rounds. And what I noticed is the higher profile players that we would play against, there were some that would perform at a very high level, and there's some that would clam up and wouldn't do anything or not complete plays. And that's a real problem for anybody that's being recruited, because that tells you.
That's right.
Because, when they step on the college campus, it's no more Mickey Mouse stuff. It's no more,
it's for real.
We threw the ball up and, I ran and got it, or, this guy ran toss sweep coming out and I'm sitting on the edge anyway. Nobody's out there to block me and I come up and make a tackle. There's no more of that. Or if I'm a quarterback, I stand back there, pat the ball 10 times and then, throw a 25-yard, deep out route or some comeback route. Yeah. There's none of that anymore.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So what you have to do is, when you're watching college football, watch the players that in the big games perform at a very high-functioning, high level. Does that mean they don't make mistakes? No. But it's how they react to the mistakes and how they recover themselves.
Now, that's where my wife, she says that's her point about Rodgers. I've never heard him described by a teammate as a leader and more of a pot stirrer. And a lot of players that have come out of that organization have not spoken highly of how he views and treats the rest of the teammates.
Well, now, maybe he's trying to hold them to a higher standard. That's why
that is
that's
true.
Why they're not.
But that's
there
hard
anymore.
to do.
Well, somebody's got to do it because the organization's not doing it.
I get
and
it.
The guy's doing it. That's what I'm saying. I think this whole thing with him is totally misread.
Yeah.
Because he is such a fierce
I would like to
competitor.
see him go somewhere else and see if he can be successful.
I think he's been successful at Green Bay.
He has.
Don't think they've been successful around him.
He's been successful, but the team has not been as successful.
They should have been the
see.
Patriots of the 2010 to 2020, and they
couldn't
be.
Just like I said of the
be.
Steelers, I think the Steelers should be better than what they are. I mean, we go round and round with that.
But if you set the bar here and hit it,
I know.
Is that success, or setting the bar up there and then almost hitting?
That's what I say. Bob Duckworth brought up Bullet Bob Hayes. That's another one.
Oh, yeah.
And Milton said, according to the rules, Sam Mills should have never been successful in the NFL because
Who said that? Who
Milton.
Said that? Oh, great point. Great point. Oh, he's
what
little.
about
he can't shoot, man. That guy was awesome.
What about if we switched quarterbacks quickly? What if we switched quarterbacks and Rodgers went to the Cowboys,
okay,
and Dak went to the Packers? Which one would be the better team?
Oh, the Cowboys instantly. And I like Dak. He's just, we saw.
But you've seen his ceiling.
No, that's what I'm saying. We saw in the conference, not the conference championship. Well, we saw there but the game before, he played so well. It was against the Giants that they beat.
I think that's right.
Okay. Well, anyway, they played whoever it was. He played so well and threw the ball so well and threw on the run to his left, throwing back, all these things. He can't do that in back-to-back games. So you knew that was it. He shot.
He's Tony Romo. Romo was the same way. Romo couldn't string together those games.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man. Yeah,
But you talked about Rodgers coming to the Panthers. Yeah. Rodgers should go to a team that, like right now.
He needs to go to the Jets.
They're $16 million over the cap. So they're going to have to do something. The Packers are.
Yeah, they're
with the new what the cap's estimated at, they'll be
right. They're
right
going to adjust
there.
it.
But,
I understand.
But
yeah.
So they can't bring him any more help, and that's all he talks about is help. Yeah. So Rodgers needs to go
to the Jets
somewhere.
Yeah, to the Jets.
But the other side, in my opinion, okay, this is Lanny's opinion, Rodgers needs to come off the hookah mountain and say, I want to go win a Super Bowl, and I'm going to give you the double check discount because I want to go
He
play.
ends up. And I know this sounds crazy. I'm going to tell you where I think may happen. I think he may end up in New England.
Yeah, that could
Now,
happen.
that's
They need
people-
one.
Listen, please don't misread what I'm saying. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But with the way they've changed offensive coordinators and who they've brought in,
Yes, Bill
they
O'Brien.
now got somebody that is so
But he never won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. Bill O'Brien as offense coordinator.
But we live and learn,
I know.
right? But you got somebody that took Brady on and didn't back down an inch.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some neat things that could really start evolving. Now, having said that, I think Bill O'Brien is the perfect fit for Mac Jones because that's what he needs. He needs that father figure on the offensive side of the ball along with that godly-like figure from a football standpoint. Of course, I don't mean religious. I'm not. But, you know, being the head coach that's got confidence in you, picked you for a reason, that knows how to take role players and win Super Bowls.
Dak and Romo, according to Richie, are 2-4 on Wild Card Weekend and 0-3 in the divisional round.
It's
Milton
good stat.
said McCarthy and Rodgers would be a circus. And then the final thought: what if Tommy goes to the Cowboys?
He's going back to Tampa. He's going back to Tampa.
I think he goes to San Francisco.
Who?
Tommy.
Brady? Oh, no.
That's the missing piece.
He's not going out there.
That's
too
the
much
missing
in taxes.
piece. Huh?
It's too much in taxes.
He could care less.
No.
He can go win.
No.
He can go win, and that's home.
No, that's why. That's why he moved to Florida.
Okay.
That's why. He's not leaving.
Okay.
Guys, gonna be.
And
crazy.
he's not going to the Miami Dolphins because
No.
they've already said
No.
that they're
He's not
in
going
for
down there.
Tua.
What's he gonna do? Hang out with his ex-wife, and her boyfriend?
Well,
Is he gonna
somebody
go down
has
there?
to. I would do that. That's the kind of guy I am.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing too, man. Not to get in anybody's business, but I mean, come on, man. Golly. I've heard people say, you need to be at home more. Talking about other people. My wife has never said that to me. She's always, Mandy knew who I was when we got married. I knew she was. We're good. Yeah, baby, you want to come see me? If I'm not at home with you, I'm on the ball field. That's the only two places I'm going to be. Okay. But it's never like, where are you at? Why are you not coming home? Why are you late? Why are you doing this? What do you want them to do? Sit at home and stare at you? It's not what high-functioning people do.
Yeah.
High-functioning people want to be around people that are energetic, high-functioning, excited, okay, and ready to take on the next endeavor of the day. Not somebody that sits there and says, oh, I just want to sit here. And that's why you go on vacation for about 30 minutes, okay? Right? We go to the beach,
That's
play
me.
golf in about a month and a half, 2 months. What will you and I be doing a lot of the time we're down there? Now, I know you're going to be retired, but what will you be doing?
Talking sports and working.
And working, okay? We're very high functioning. Let's do it because we can multi. You can't ask somebody that can do that to just stop what they're doing and sit at home.
Not a recliner guy watching Netflix.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Can't do it. All right, guys, we're out of here. Have a good one. We'll see you back on Thursday. I got meetings tomorrow. Have a good one.